friends, this is Ouassima. Welcome to this video where I will be presenting to you real magic book. So this week we have been playing with magic and manifestation thanks to Lucy, who prepared for us a challenge during 7 days. To learn more about manifestation, about sacred space, we have been having prompts every day, and she will be holding space for us this weekend, tomorrow. She will be holding space for us to have a workshop and manifest, or helping us to manifest and put some magic into a project or into our practice, spiritual practice. And I have been, in a way, preparing for this week since May. And I got this book, Real Magic, that was popping up everywhere as a sign, as a synchronicity. And Stella, I think she's named her name is Stella, has a book club, a Facebook book club. I will put it below. And she was reading this book, and I was like, okay, I think this is the good time to read it. So, Real Magic is written by Dean Radin. He's a well-known scientist or PhD that wrote other books related to not only magic but belief system, etc. He is a chief scientist at the Institute of Noetic Sciences and associated distinguished professor of integral and transpersonal psychology at the California Institute of Integral Studies. He is the author of Entangled Minds, the Conscious Universe, and Supernormal. So the book talks about magic, and the author wanted to put a link between magic and science, and how it comes from ancient wisdom, and how can we study magic? Can we do it? Can we put proofs? Can we prove that magic exists and prove its effects on our lives or on the object of magic? I mean, if you want to manifest something, if you want to put magic into it, do we have tangible, practical results that we can calculate, that we can see? Which is really interesting coming from scientists, because what we know from science is that it is a bit old-fashioned. It is not really following the ascension that we are living. It is like falling behind, and it closed itself, or many scientists closed themselves into a box, into the religion that became science became as a religion. And Dean Radin, among many other scientists, are opening the doors into what we have never studied before, like magic, consciousness, other topics. And it is really courageous, because for coming from scientists that he faced judgment, he faced refusal of putting his articles into well-known reviews, scientific reviews, etc. So it is really courageous. It is very, I see it from positive way, that he has that ability, or he has the ability to fulfill his objective, studying magic and many other topics, till the end, even if he is facing a lot of pressure, or I would say refusal from his collaborators, or the scientific field in general. So that being said, Real Magic, for me, after I have read it, I found very interesting studies about magic, proofs about how it works. We see that Dean Radin has this desire to put a link between the magic as we see it now and all the studies or all the practices about magic in history. So he wanted to put a link in history, from a historical side, between the ancient practices till today, about magic, how we see it, how we perceive it, what are the different types of magic. For example, let me share with you something he wrote about that. So he divided magic into three practices. or three definitions. The first one is magic is a force of will. That means it is a mental influence of physical world. We use in that case spellcasting, intentionally influencing events or actions. The second definition or the second field is divination. That means perceiving events in distant past or in the future. We can do that by our cards, reading tarot cards, mirror gazing, etc. And the third definition or the third part of magic, he calls it theurgy, and it is the interaction with non-physical entities, among other things. So he has this scientific way of presenting things and cutting things and showing them, presenting them in a simple way. However, I need to say that this book, if you are interested in magic, in rituals, and you will get like 20% of your objective, because it's not a book about rituals. It's not a book about how to manifest your magic. You will have some tools, you will have some insights, but for me, it is, I consider it as a beginner book for practitioners or for those who are interested in studying magic, practical magic. But the other thing I noticed about this book is that it has many scientific studies with graphics, and let me show you for example, you will have a lot of graphics like that, because it comes from a scientist, and he needs to show what he did, the impact, and it is a scientist writing this book. So if you don't like that side of reading scientific reviews or books is not your what you prefer, I don't think you will like this book, because it has many. If you don't like, for example, historic presentation, way of presenting things like factuals, it's not romanced, it's factual facts, and you don't like really that type of writing, I don't think you will really appreciate this book. So I believe this book is really written for a public of scientists, of those who want to open the doors. It's an invitation. This book is an invitation for scientists, but for those who are in spiritual field, I feel it is more in the beginner side. So yeah, this is why I noticed. The other thing that I found interesting about this book is that it talks about I forgot what I was going to say. It talks about different practices you can use. It gives that tools I told about, even if they are not a lot. Among them, there is remote viewing, if I pronunciate it well. He gives really the steps to do it, which is really interesting. It focuses on some important things you need to have to practice magic or to develop your magic. For example, having space, the prayer side of magic, the challenges we have in magic, difference between black and white magic. Also, it talks about, looking into my notes, he talks also about, and this is really interesting, talks about esoteric magic, natural magic, supernatural magic. He cuts down that, and it is really interesting, because if you want to define magic and look at its evolution through history. The other thing I found interesting is that he from a historical point of view, he talks about Plato, its influence on magic, how it was transformed, Kabbalah. He talks about a lot of things, even if he doesn't go deep, because it's not the objective of this book. But he talks about different things that open small doors and give you an invitation to go deeper and to look for that from your side, or maybe reading other books. All right. The other thing I found interesting also, he talks about sigils and how to make them, but also he talks about the belief system and how the belief system has an impact. And this is, for me, it was the biggest, it was the juicy part I liked the most in this book, the impact of our belief system on magic and how he proves it and shows other studies that prove that. If you believe in magic, it will happen, which is really interesting. So how can we know? How can we construct our belief system? How can we how can we develop a belief system that encourage us to display our magic, to manifest what we want? And I don't want to tell you a lot about this book, because my goal is to present it to you and to show you what you can discover in it. But that part of belief system and its relation to magic was a very big, juicy part. So I'm looking into my notes, seeing if I forgot to tell you about something. So basically this is a big review, a general review about this book. You can discover some small topics about blessing food, distance healing, and then its relation to intention, how to create the goal, to visualize it. It's full of small sparks that give you that desire to dive deep into magic. It's an invitation. This is the word that resonates for me when I talk about this book. It's an invitation. So I hope you like this review. If you feel attracted by this book and you want to read it, please let me know what you think about it. I like sharing, having different views of the topic. And if you have other books also about magic that you like and you found interesting, maybe you want to share them with us, maybe below this video or in our group Study Your Tarot Deck in 21 Days. You will help us to discover maybe new things, maybe giving us the courage to dive into maybe a new field in this magic. So wish you a very nice weekend, and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.